By chance, I found out that my parents had left their entire inheritance to my sister. I stopped paying their bills. A month later, my mom called. "Sweetie, the utility bills came." My response was something no one expected. But before we continue, write in the comments which country you're watching this video from. Enjoy listening. Camille, as usual, stood distractedly at the kitchen table, staring at the numbers on her laptop screen. Paying her parents' apartment bills, electricity, gas, water, internet, was a routine task she had handled every month for years. Without her, Claire and Etienne, her parents, seemed utterly helpless. She sighed. It wasn't that it was particularly burdensome, but sometimes she felt like a workhorse carrying the weight of the entire family. Meanwhile, her younger sister, Amélie, was probably picking out a new outfit for a party or gossiping with friends. Amélie lived in a carefree world where bills magically paid themselves and problems resolved themselves as if by magic. Camille didn't envy her. No, she just wished, sometimes, for a little more appreciation. Claire, her mother, often told Amélie, "You need more freedom. You're a creative soul." To Camille, she'd say, "You're our practical one, Camille. You always find a way." And Camille always did. She worked as an accountant, managed the household, and still found time to help her parents. Amélie, on the other hand, created, as Claire put it, flitting from one hobby to another, photography courses, dance lessons, all of course funded from the family budget, which Camille largely sustained. That day, after work and her usual responsibilities, Camille decided to visit her parents. She bought their favorite Prague cake and a bottle of good wine, hoping to sit down, talk, and feel like part of the family, not just a resource provider. When she arrived, Claire was bustling in the kitchen, while Etienne, her father, sat in his armchair, engrossed in a sports channel as always. "Camille, darling, come in." Claire greeted her warmly. "It's so nice you stopped by." "Hey, kid." Etienne glanced up from the TV. "You're a bit late today? Work?" "Something like that, Dad," Camille replied. "You know how it is." The evening unfolded as usual. They drank tea, ate cake, and chatted. Etienne grumbled about politicians, Claire gossiped about neighbors, and Amélie, as always, was absent. Probably busy with something, Camille thought, feeling a slight pang of resentment. After tea, Camille offered to help her mother clean. Claire agreed, and they started sorting through old things in the storage room. Camille disliked this task. The storage room was always dusty and cramped, but Claire refused to throw out her precious memories. It was there, among old photos, yellowed letters, and other relics, that Camille found it. A small envelope labeled Will. Curiosity got the better of her. She knew it wasn't right to read someone else's letters, but the envelope seemed to beckon, promising to reveal some hidden truth. With trembling hands, Camille opened it and unfolded the document. Her heart pounded as she read. With each line, her shock grew. The will clearly stated that all of Claire and Etienne's assets, the apartment, bank accounts, and country house, would go solely to Amélie. A wave of hurt, anger, and disappointment surged within her. How could they? How could they do this to her? The one who was always there, always helping, always putting their needs above her own? She folded the will, slipped it back into the envelope, and tucked it into her pocket. Claire returned to the storage room. "What did you find, Camille?" she asked, peering into a box. "Nothing special, Mom," Camille replied, keeping her voice steady. "Just some old photos." She spent the rest of the evening in a haze, forcing smiles and small talk while rage simmered inside. She felt betrayed, deceived, and utterly alone. As she prepared to leave, Claire hugged her. "Thank you for coming, sweetie," she said. "We always have such a good time with you." Camille nodded silently, afraid that her emotions would spill over if she spoke. In that moment, she made a decision. No more paying bills, no more buying medicine, no more household help. Let Amélie, the chosen heir, take care of them now. At home, she called her best friend, Sophie. "Sophie, I need to talk," she said, barely holding back tears. "It's really bad." "What's wrong, Camille?" Sophie asked, concerned. "Is it your parents?" "My parents are fine," Camille replied. "But I'm not. I need you to listen." Sophie arrived within half an hour. Camille poured out everything, sparing no detail. Sophie listened quietly, occasionally hugging her friend. "Camille, I don't know what to say," Sophie said when Camille finished. "This is awful, just awful." "I know," Camille said. "I just don't understand how they could do this." "They made a mistake," Sophie said. "But that doesn't mean you have to suffer for it. You deserve your own life, your own happiness." "I know," Camille repeated. "And I've decided I'm done staying silent. I'm done sacrificing myself for people who don't appreciate it." "Good for you, Camille," Sophie said. "I'm here for you." "Thank you, Sophie," Camille said. "You always have my back." "What are friends for?" Sophie replied. Camille knew a tough road lay ahead, but her first step toward this new life was clear. No more paying for her parents. At first, an eerie calm settled over Claire and Etienne's home. Life went on as if nothing had changed. There were still some medications left, and their routine remained intact. Etienne grumbled at the morning news, Claire busied herself with chores, and the TV droned on. They didn't immediately notice Camille's absence. Claire chalked it up to her being busy. "Probably swamped at work," she'd say, hiding her growing unease. Etienne brushed it off. "She'll come around," he muttered, nose buried in the newspaper. But days passed, and Camille didn't show up. No calls, no visits, not even a text. Claire began to worry. She called Camille several times, but there was no answer. Desperate, she reached out to Sophie, hoping for some insight. "Hello, Sophie. This is Claire, Camille's mom. How are you?" she began, her voice overly polite. "Hello, Claire," Sophie replied coolly. "We're fine. And you?" "I'm worried about Camille," Claire said. "She's completely disappeared. No calls, no visits. Have you seen her?" "I have," Sophie said. "Camille's busy. She has a lot going on. What's the matter? Did something happen?" "Why isn't she talking to us? Did we upset her somehow?" "You'd have to ask her that yourself," Sophie said. "I can't share her secrets." Claire grew irritated by Sophie's evasiveness. "Can you at least hint at what's going on? I'm her mother." "She needs time and space," Sophie said. "She'll talk when she's ready. Sorry, I have to go. Goodbye." Sophie hung up, leaving Claire bewildered. She recounted the conversation to Etienne, who snorted angrily. Some friend, time and space. What nonsense. But deep down, Etienne, too, began to feel uneasy. Camille's absence and the loss of her unwavering support started to erode his confidence. The first real alarm came when the utility bills arrived. Claire, as usual, set them aside for Camille to handle, but then it hit her. They'd have to deal with them themselves. She tried calling the utility company, but got lost in the process. The operator demanded an account number she didn't know. Frustrated, she slammed down the phone. "Etienne, what do we do? I don't understand any of this," she pleaded. Etienne frowned and took the bills. He studied them, piecing together scraps of information, but he was used to Camille handling everything. "We'll figure it out," he grumbled, though he wasn't sure. They spent an entire day trying to navigate the payment process, and though they eventually succeeded, it was exhausting and nerve-wracking. That evening, as they sat in silence, they realized how much they had relied on Camille. She hadn't just helped, she had sustained their existence. Now, without her, they were helpless. Claire couldn't take it anymore and called Camille again. This time, Camille answered. "Sweetie, what's wrong? Why aren't you calling or visiting?" Claire asked, her voice trembling. "What's wrong?" Camille's voice was cold. "Don't you have Amélie? She's your heir. Let her take care of you now." Claire was stunned by the bitterness in her daughter's voice. "But Camille, we're your parents. How can you talk like that?" "How could you do this to me?" Camille shot back. "All my life, I've supported you, and you chose Amélie, who doesn't even think about you." "We just wanted her to have a future," Claire stammered, tears welling up. "And I don't deserve one? Am I supposed to work for you and Amélie forever?" "No, of course not. We didn't think." "Exactly. You never thought about me," Camille said, hanging up. Claire, in tears, told Etienne about the call. He sat silently, head bowed, feeling guilty and lost. He knew they had made a terrible mistake by favoring Amélie, but how could they fix it now? A month passed. Camille tried not to think about her parents, throwing herself into work and a new pottery class. The potter's wheel became her way to channel the storm of emotions inside her. She shaped vases, cups, and small figurines, pouring into them her restrained anger, hurt, and, strangely, hope. Meanwhile, Claire and Etienne's home was a different story. Financial struggles soon compounded with health issues. Etienne ran out of his blood pressure medication and began feeling unwell. They couldn't afford to buy more or visit a doctor. "We need to call Amélie," Claire said, defeated. "Maybe she can help." Amélie, as usual, was preoccupied, preparing for a party with friends. Her parents' call annoyed her. "Mom, what's wrong?" she asked, exasperated. Claire tried to stay calm. "Your dad's not well. We're struggling with bills and medications. Could you help?" Amélie sighed. "Mom, I told you. Things are tight for me too. Work's crazy. And I'm not Camille solving all your problems. Figure it out yourselves." She hung up before Claire could respond. Claire looked at Etienne, seeing her own fear and disappointment mirrored in his eyes. "What do we do?" she whispered. Etienne had no answer, consumed by guilt and helplessness. Amélie, setting her phone down, felt a twinge of guilt. She knew her parents needed help, but she didn't want to cancel her plans. Parties, new connections, and Instagram posts seemed far more important than health issues or bills. Still, she decided to call Camille, hoping to shift the responsibility back to her. "Hey, Camille," Amélie said, forcing friendliness into her voice. "The parents need help. Maybe you could reconsider and step in." Camille's anger flared at her sister's voice. "Amélie, you know exactly why I stopped helping," she said coldly. "Don't push your responsibilities onto me. You're the heir now. Deal with it." Amélie tried to argue, but Camille cut her off. "Don't call me again. I don't have time for this." She hung up. Furious and humiliated, Amélie threw her phone onto the couch. "How dare she?" she hissed. She convinced herself Camille was just jealous of her beauty, her success, her carefree life. How else could she explain such cruelty and indifference? Claire and Etienne tried to reach Camille, but she kept her distance. Claire called repeatedly, hoping to talk, but Camille's responses were vague, citing work and exhaustion. She wasn't ready for long explanations, afraid she'd lose control and unleash her pent-up pain. She needed time to process and decide what to do next. "Camille, why are you acting like a stranger?" Claire pleaded over the phone, her voice breaking. "We're your parents. Can't you understand?" "Understand what, Mom?" Camille replied sharply. "That you used me for years? And now that I'm no longer convenient, you suddenly remember I'm your daughter?" Etienne tried too, but his attempts were even less successful. A man of few words, he struggled to express himself. He'd call, sit in silence, hoping Camille would speak, but she stayed quiet, and the call would end. Claire and Etienne spent long evenings reflecting on their mistakes, recalling every time they favored Amélie, overlooked Camille's efforts, or took her care for granted. "We were blind," Claire admitted, wiping away tears. "We only saw what we wanted to see. We thought Camille would always be there, that she'd never leave. But she's human too. She has feelings." "We should have thought sooner," Etienne muttered. "Now we're stuck." Amélie, meanwhile, struggled with the responsibility of caring for her parents. After a few failed attempts to help with bills and medications, she started dodging their calls. She wasn't used to this life. She was accustomed to taking, not giving. "Why me?" she complained to a friend. "Why should I pay for them? Camille's richer anyway. Let her help." Her friend wasn't sympathetic. "You're to blame," she said. "You always relied on Camille to cover for you. Now that she's stopped, you're upset? That's odd." Amélie hung up, furious. She felt cornered. She didn't want to take on the responsibility, but she knew if she didn't, her parents would be in trouble. Camille, meanwhile, felt freer, though the sting of betrayal lingered. She continued her pottery classes, finding solace in shaping clay. Sophie supported her, seeing Camille's newfound confidence, but also her need for understanding. "Don't hold a grudge against your parents," Sophie advised. "They're still your parents. They messed up, but they're starting to see it. Give them a chance." Camille didn't know how to respond. She knew Sophie was right, but forgiving her parents felt impossible. The hurt ran too deep. One day, Claire called with news. "Camille, we've rewritten everything," she said. "It's all split evenly now between you and Amélie. We realized we were unfair to you." Camille listened quietly, then said, "It's not about the inheritance, Mom. It's that you didn't value me. You took my care for granted and idolized Amélie just for existing. I need time to process this." Despite her inner turmoil, Camille noticed she was softening. She saw her parents' efforts to make amends and their struggles without her help. Her anger began to give way to empathy. One evening, while working on her pottery, Camille got a call from Amélie, her voice frantic. "Camille, Dad's really sick," she said. "He needs emergency surgery, and we don't have the money. Please help." Camille froze, clay in her hands. She knew Etienne had heart issues, but she hadn't realized it was this serious. "What happened?" she asked, trying to stay calm. Amélie explained that Etienne had a heart attack, and the doctors said he needed urgent surgery. The cost was astronomical, and they had no way to pay. "Mom's panicking," Amélie continued. "I tried to find money, but I can't. Please, Camille, help us." Camille paused, weighing her options. She knew her father's life depended on her decision. She could refuse, and Etienne might die. but if she helped, her parents might revert to taking her for granted. "I'll think about it," she said, hanging up. Two emotions battled within her: resentment for her parents' unfairness and love for her father, whom she didn't want to lose. In the end, love won. Camille decided to help. She knew it would be hard, that she might face their ingratitude again, but she couldn't let her father die. She called Amélie and promised to help raise the money. Amélie was overjoyed and thanked her profusely. Camille reached out to friends and acquaintances, and together they gathered the necessary funds. Etienne's surgery was a success, and he began to recover. When Camille visited him in the hospital, Claire and Amélie were by his side, looking at him with love and gratitude. For the first time in a long time, they felt like a real family. Claire approached Camille and hugged her. "Thank you, Camille," she said, tears streaming. "You saved his life. We'll never forget this." "I appreciate that," Camille said, "but I can't go back to how things were. I don't want to be the family's wallet anymore. I want to live my life, do what I love." Claire and Etienne exchanged glances. They understood Camille had a right to her own life. They had made a mistake they'd now have to atone for. "We're not asking to go back to how it was," Claire said. "We just want you to know we love you and we're so sorry for how we treated you." Camille nodded. It was all she'd wanted to hear: acknowledgement, an apology, understanding. In that moment, she realized that true family isn't just blood ties, it's mutual support and care. And forgiveness is the key to healing and reconciliation.